invites individuals to convert reality, embrace vulnerability, and tap into their inner strength through intentional trauma support networks. She envisions a world where empathy and accountability converge, a world where we live in authentically, free from fear and full of purpose, not waiting for some future celestial city, but building collective liberation now. Please welcome to the stage, Christina Jackson.
I'm gonna try to maintain my composure, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm not embarrassed about that at all. I worked my ass off to get here. So I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna read you the beginning of a story that I wrote back in 2011, and eventually decided not to finish. So bear with me. And this is the first time I'm reading this story with my name instead of the fictional character that I created. So bear with me. Christina's short, chubby legs carried her. Christina's short, chubby legs carried her along the familiar path she walked every day from school. It wasn't far, and though she had walked it alone, Christina usually walked with a group of her neighborhood kids older than her. Christina didn't know if they were her friends, but it always seemed like everyone wanted to play with her Afro puffs and treat her like she was a baby. Christina knew that she was not a baby. Christina knew a lot about a lot of things. As she hopped over the cracks in the crumbled sidewalk, Christina's gallop transitioned into a clumsy skip, and then a lazy half-stagger run so she could keep up with the rest of the kids. The closer she got to her house, the less bounce in her step. Her natural, upbeat attitude faded into a gray, somber mood that screamed the need a rescue. As she opened the door, fried chicken smells wafted through the air and mingled with the scent of pine saw to take Christina to a place where brothers don't touch sisters and mothers do more to keep their kids safe. Christina sat on her oldest brother's lap and pretended she could run as fast as the Roadrunner when he got away from Wile E. Coyote. The coyote claimed to be a super genius, not just a genius, right? A super genius. But to Christina, he seemed pretty dumb, seeing as how the Roadrunner always got away. Christina hated the Roadrunner show. Every day after school, she had to come home and put on the plaid skirt. He always wanted her to wear it without panties when she sat down on his lap. And so I say that because I thought it would be a good way for you to see my foundation, right? My first memories, right? And I made it. I graduated, right? I tried to maneuver my way through life, constantly challenged with depression. And went to the military, right? And, went through life like we all do, right? Just trying to get by. And I couldn't seem to catch a break, right? Depression wouldn't leave me alone. Anxiety wouldn't leave me alone. And I needed a release. I think that when we're stuck in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn for too long, everybody needs a release. So I found out what crack did. Crack releases dopamine, and I wanted it. And I got it. Got a little bit more than I asked for, right? So I spent like my early 40s, early 50s in active addiction. Ended up getting sober because my daughter had a baby and I couldn't see my granddaughter if I was going to continue to get high. Okay. Whatever works, right? I'm all for sobriety, whatever works, whatever stimulates you to be better. So I got sober. And what I found out was that the very things that exist in us made me want to get high. I wanted to get high because I was hungry. I wanted to get high because I was bored. I wanted to get high because I was hurting and didn't know how to soothe myself, right? I had all these reasons to get, you can find a reason to get high. And as a matter of fact, it wasn't even just the substance, right? Because addiction is a compulsive behavior. And it's a behavior that we do that we won't stop even if it hurts us or somebody else, right? So I'm in active addiction, I get sober, and I start to look at myself and figure out what it is that makes me uncomfortable, what it is that made me look for ways to hide, I guess, to disappear. And I found that if I addressed those, I was okay with me. I like me, right? So I started to focus on my mental health. I started to go to therapy more. I started to actually try to do the things that they were teaching me to do. And I found that they began to work, right? I wasn't having long periods of relief, but I was in and out the hospital less. I was trying to kill myself less. I was starting to be able to show up. I found the Peer Center. So we know the Peer Center rocks, right? It's a safe place. And I found out that I didn't know what safe was. We assume that we know what safe is, but do we? Right? So I had to figure that out. What is safe? What does that look like? I asked people, how do you know that you're safe? So I'm going through all these processes and I'm trying to figure it out, and I find that the more that I understand, the more that the ambiance of mental illness, it kind of left, right? The power in mental depression and suicidal thoughts and all of that, it kind of left because I began to understand how the brain works. And it's all about the dopamine high at the end of the day. If you look at your life, I guarantee you there's compulsive behavior. Whether you scroll your screen every day, you eat that pizza at midnight, right? Whatever it is that we're doing to make ourselves okay is compulsive behavior. And all we have to do is pause, like she said, be faster than yourself, and pause. Just pause. What do I need? Do I really need this pizza at midnight? Or am I having some anxiety about the speech I have to do tomorrow? Right? So it's about us figuring out what it is in us and how it works. And so, I get through this whole recovery thing and I start the healing process. And back in January this year, we went to Mexico for a cross-cultural. So I decide while I'm in Mexico that I'm going to do a healing journey. And there was a healer there. We had this experience. And I don't know if the healer healed me or if I healed me. But it don't really matter because I'm healed. I know that. I know that because I don't want to get high. I know that because I like me a little bit too much sometimes, right? I'll be pissing people off because I like me.
Never too much.
There it is. So y'all understand what I'm saying, right? And so I got asked to do this show, and I always try to do the least amount of work as possible. And I thought that I knew what my story was, right? I lived it. But I figured out that now that I got the chance to tell my story, that's not even a story that's important to me. Being molested made me the super person that I am today. So what I had to do with that is trauma gives you blinders, right? So all you see is your trauma. You can be in a house full of people who are being traumatized, and you don't know because you're busy trying to survive your own self. So I had these conversations with my brothers who were the perpetrators. And my whole life they tried to tell me they were just curious. That's why they did it. Everybody in my house was molested. There was no opportunity for safety. There was no opportunity for them to know how to be my brother. There wasn't any. There was none because my mother was molested. My mother was beat. So she thought beating us was what you were supposed to do. So then I take all that information and it doesn't justify, but it gives it context. Because in addition to that information, I know that hurt people hurt people. And I guarantee you that if somebody is hurting you or has hurt you, they have been hurt. Doesn't take away them hurting you at all. But it helps you understand that you were never the problem. You were never the problem. How can a kid be a problem? Right? I'm just here at your disposal. And the fact that you don't know how to keep me safe is your problem, not mine. So I get here, I'm on this stage thinking about my story. Somebody gonna finally hear what happened to me, right? And that's not even the important part. That part, right? Because today is my story, right? Today I get to decide, who am I going to tell my granddaughter I am, right? She don't even have to know I was smoking crack. That's a blessing, right? That's a reprieve. And we all get those. You all get to start over as many times as you need to start over. And you get to unapologetically be yourself. Because who am I to tell you who to be? I'm worried about the wrong person, right? Because I should be worried about me. So I say, unapologetically write your story. Unapologetically. I guarantee you it will change your life. I am up here full of so much energy that I would normally call anxiety, but I feel like it's like this internal power that we have in this room because we tired of being in pain and we understand it was never our fault, but it is your fault if you continue to hurt, right? I'm thinking, I'm done.
Christina Jackson, everyone.